Yeah. It's your boy Triple Black, aka the number one stunner, aka the boss, aka three black hearses. It's murder, man. I wasn't going to do the stream this morning, but hey, I figured, man. You know what? I gotta force myself into an uncomfortable zone because the thing about it is like um, I think is needed. If I could talk, to a couple people every day, or spread some messages every day, I think be a good thing. Especially with the young guys and stuff like that, and take an objective look sometimes. Um, at night, Triple Black has had a little, couple too many drinks and stuff like that. I get a little bit of ratchet, but now I just want to talk about you know um whatever glitters ain't always gold, man. And that's one life lessons that you guys gonna learn. Everybody learns it. There's no way of escaping it. It is what it is, man. Like I always do. I ain't like one of these other guys out here. I'm just gonna go drop the link. If anybody want to come up, share some thoughts or whatever, disagree, whatever, y'all can come up here and disagree, man. This is open panel. I'm just chopping it up, doing some work, you know bored as hell. But anyways, there's a downside to everything, man. There's whatever glitter ain't gold, man. There's always a yin and a yang, and I want to let some young folks, man. You guys got to figure that shit out, man. You guys got to figure that stuff out. It's um. And one of the I had an interesting discussion. Shout out to Mace Taggart, man. Shout out to Mace Taggart. And lately I've been trying to take an objective look, and I'm trying to understand some of these young men in some of these ideals that they have. And it's a culmination of different things. There's a generational thing, and it's steep. The difference between generation, where Gen X, which is 1980, that ends in 1980, which is me, and then Gen Z, was it the other generation? I can't- but anyways, it's like a year apart, but it's that on the ends of it is vastly different, and you can tell that outlier by the internet. I think the internet has completely changed. I think it's completely widened that gap when it comes to thought. I was talking to this young brother. He's 32 years old, and the way that he was speaking, it was literally like night and day, like light night and day, like his beliefs and what he believes in. um when it comes to like the family dynamic, male and female dynamic, everything like that is completely different. um you know and the thing, I think one of the things about it is there's two big events that really happened, um in in our in both our generations, and I think it's completely changed the well, let's not say it's social engineering, but the whole pattern. It's crazy how different our thoughts and beliefs are, and it was almost, and one of the problems with that guy, I forgot what his name was, but he was on Mace Taggart's channel. um like the deep amount of trauma that guy faced, I had to take it because we got a little, verbal, I want to say verbal altercation, but no, kind of a verbal little spat or whatever, but it was all good afterward. The kid, I think he even brought up the fact that he's been taking care of himself since he was 16. So that told me a lot right there. You probably got serious abandonment issues, and I'm not trying to diagnose the man, but he probably got serious issues when it comes to that whole abandonment thing, and I mean, the thing about it was is he was so wanting to prove me wrong about stuff, uh that he kind of almost lost, I think, in my opinion, he kind of almost lost what I was talking about. And then he kept, going back, and then he kept, trying to use these uh these talking points, of, us complaining. I was like, nah, we're just what I was talking about is like, why? Because, on the internet, a lot of people have talked about Fresh and Fit, that the Fresh and Fit podcast, that's like the talk of the internet. And they have a large following. It's like it's almost on some cult shit now. And which is very surprising to me, you know. It's like on some Jim Jones shit. And then the leader of it was a Myrian. But anyways, he has a lot of influence. And then at first he was trying to apologize, and I guess maybe they read the analytics, they read the thing, and and he's kind of just walked everything back, and nothing has changed, right? Um it's like uh it's walked everything back, kind of. And not and kind of have a belief like he's right and stuff like that. And I was like thinking to myself, you know what? There's something going on here, man. There's really something going on here, and it's a generational thing. One thing I notice is like between my generation and the generation right after me, especially because I'm on the extreme end, and they on it's like, I don't know, maybe it's the internet. There's so many eyes on them. It's so hard for them to, apologize or say I'm wrong. And I don't know if it's just one of those things where, they have the internet at their disposal, where they think that everything on the internet is right. Because the thing about it, there's a lot of misinformation on the internet. So it was just kind of crazy how he just couldn't see the forest for the trees. Like, he just couldn't see the forest for the trees. And there's like, um, he didn't want to even listen for the nuance in my arguments or my talking points, man. Good morning, Misha. Good morning, Misha. Good morning, Misha. That's what I'm talking about. Misha come through. But he couldn't even see what the talking points. He just wanted to prove me wrong. He just wanted to prove me wrong. I'm wrong or whatever. And he was just like, uh I asked him, one of the things that we talked about was we were talking about when I was young, in even my 20s or whatever. We always went. I mean, even when I was a young guy, we always went to the barbershop, and then you'll see like older cats coming in there talking. It was like a session, like, like men. If you ever been amongst men, when we're talking about sports or whatever, socializing, sometimes we used to go to the barbershop and just freaking chill and talk and drink and do all this type of stuff. And we talk about women, we talk about relationships, we talk about all kinds of stuff, man. And then it was like a no judgment zone or whatever, and people would be venting and be like, oh yeah, this dude's going through this, blah blah blah. It's just like a camaraderie or whatever. And when I sat there, I was like, and then me and Mace and the other guy was like, "Have you ever been to a barbershop?" And he was like, "Yeah, I go to a barbershop all the time." He's like, I go to a barbershop all the time. I was like, do you ever listen to what the conversations in the barbershop is? Granted, he probably has, because if you go to the barbershop, men are sitting there talking about, life things, you know what I'm saying? But you could just hear the defiance in his voice. He kept saying, "Oh, I don't care about what they were talking about. I don't care what." It was like he just did not want to even acknowledge that he just didn't even acknowledge that he might be wrong about something, or he might not know something. He just kind of deflected and said he doesn't want to talk. I mean, like, he doesn't listen to what other people are saying. He just kind of like, whatever. He's about his business. He's about his money. These talking points, like, and um I never, ever, ever, ever thought, like, some of these ideals that, like, you would hear in a manosphere, like, get your weight up, be on your purpose and shit like that, had a negative side effect. It has it, unfortunately, that whole level up thing, which I'll never tell a man not to level up in his life and not to get on his purpose or anything like that, but it's almost, they talk about it in a way, it's almost to the detriment of them, because it's not even giving them, um it's not even giving them a time to kind of reflect or anything like that. It's almost like, they're blindly running into a burning building. They think, like, okay, you know what? Let me go ahead and get my money up. Let me do this. Let me be on my purpose. Let me, just kind of, get my money up, just my money. If I got money, I don't even have to. I mean, I just need some money. All I need is some money, and I get some clout. I get that, and everything is going to be good. You know what I'm saying? I'll get the honeys, I'll get a whole bunch of women, and everything is going to be good. And and the thing about it is they don't understand that you can be successful financially, uh, but it could end up being you got to leave the chance that that could be an empty existence. It can be a very empty, lonely existence, especially, if you make it to the top. You got to see, you ever wonder why some of these guys that are very highly successful, they're miserable. They're freaking miserable. They can't trust nobody. They're always taking drugs. They're always doing all this type of stuff. And the thing about it is a point I'm trying to make, is like, these young guys, they can't think out the box. They can't think for themselves. They look for these manuals. They look for these they can't do any critical thinking. They can't, it's like monkey see, monkey do. And it's so easy to influence these guys. You know what I'm saying? Because you can just show them the imagery. You can, and the thing about it is like, you can have like a fresh, you know, get a fucking, like, rent a Lambo. You know what I'm saying? He can rent a Lambo, get press releases and shit like that, and have a whole bunch of girls. And the problem is like, you'll have some impressionable cats that think this is the way, this is the way, and then they'll completely believe everything, and then those guys will spend their resources trying to follow this fake shit, like this fake ass shit. But it's all over the internet though, and we live in an internet generation to where this is very easy. It's like, they used to have the get rich scheme, and they used to get, but now it's like prevalent. Like, you go on the internet, right? Between every ad, you have somebody that's basically telling you that you can get rich overnight, or you can get this girl overnight, or you can get this, this microwave shit. So, um, the thing about it is all they, like, the threshold is so low. Uh, if you see it, if some of these people see it, they see it in motion. The cars, the Lambos, the girls, and all this type of stuff. On Instagram or whatever, and they automatically believe, oh man, this is real. I want this. I want this. What can I do to have this? And then you'll have a person come by and be like, hey, you just pay $9.99, 3 easy payments, and you can get this lifestyle too. You know what I'm saying? You can get, these girls and all this type of stuff. You can get that stuff too, but it's too easy. And but back to the point I was trying to make, and then where where everything got lost in the sauce. What I was trying to tell them is like, you know, like a person like my Rand was able to get all these guys to follow him, because there's a lot of hurt dudes. Not on no shaming shit, but there's a lot of hurt dudes. Like in my generation, let's I've only been in one, you know, I was in a marriage, so I was only been in one serious long term relationship. I'm in one now, but I haven't had those close bonds and stuff, right? Um, in my generation, probably in the older generation, whatever, you probably, I mean, maybe, a dude can go through his life before he, settles down or whatever. He might have, maybe 10, I don't know how many relationships, 5 or 6 relationships or whatever. He'll always have that one, that really fucked him over, or that one heartbreak. And then, he turns or whatever. And and I took myself out of it, and I was just like, yeah, you know what? These I can understand why some of these dudes are like how they are, because think about it. These guys are going through, in our generation, you might have had one, maybe two of these heartbreaks. Damn, they're having like 5 or 6 of them before they're even 30. And and the thing about it is, each one of them get to as more and more of them you have, the more numb you become to it. So these, I mean, and plus, if you hear the attitudes of a lot of these women, in this modern culture, I mean, they're almost programmed to do that. So if you take a dude that's 40, that's probably only had one of those trauma, those real trauma things, like maybe once, and then, but you have a dude that's 30, right? That's had 5 or 6 of them, is getting whooped by the fucking female. I can see why the attitudes are so much more extreme in that age and that demographic. So it's almost a lot of those guys didn't really grow up in a generation when they seen the traditional the traditional woman. So they're kind of okay in a way with I mean, to me it's trash that's out there now. You know what I'm saying? They're just completely away. And then his argument was, and then how he pumped his chest out too. He was like, yeah, I'm getting to the bag, I'm getting to the money. I don't care what my girl, she doesn't need to cook and clean. She doesn't need to do none of that. She just needs to, I can make her, teach her how to get that money and bring me the money, this type of stuff. I'm like, yeah, just, you need to bring me money. It's just like, man, you know what, man, I got my money. I'm gonna get my money. If I want to eat something, man, I can just go to Miller's Ale House and and you know, get some food or whatever. Uh, you know what I'm saying? I can go get some food that way. I don't need no woman to cook and clean, and I don't know. I'd rather her be out there getting the bag and help, getting her own bag and show. I'm like, man. And then it started to wonder. I was just like, man, you know what? It's like a generational thing, and I don't think that we're ever gonna see eye to eye, because the priorities are completely different. The priorities are completely different. And what's unfortunate, man, is those guys are so stuck in this machismo, false alpha state, or false bravado, that it really, really is going to do them a detriment. It's really going to do them a detriment. You know, um, and a lot of men had to learn this lesson, where what, you could have um, been true to yourself or true to your heart or whatever. And because there's like a lot of men that's probably through their life, they fucked up situations trying to be hard-headed, stubborn. You know how many situations that you messed up in your life just because you were hard headed and stubborn, and stubborn. But you can't really. There's nothing you can do. Some people are programmed a certain way, and it's starting to make sense. It makes sense, all the way around of why you don't really have relationships anymore. You don't really have relationships anymore. You just have like situationships. Uh, it because um, it's I mean it's more complex. I'll be here all day trying to explain why, but there is a big gap in the way of thinking, and I think there's two things that I think contribute to it um, the the most in that big gap, and I think it's the internet. It's the definitely the internet that because we live in an information age. Um, and the other thing, I mean, there's a couple things. There's the internet, and what's the like whatever is glitter, like what I said, whatever glitter ain't gold. Sure, the internet has a lot of information on there. It's seems like it's great. It seems like it's great, but there's a lot of misinformation on there. There's a lot of propaganda. There's a lot of propaganda. Son, there's a lot of propaganda. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of just outright lies and things like that. So, whatever glitters ain't always gold, man. You got to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Are bad for your health. I come real stuff, dropping bombs on your mom. Fuck car alarms. It's a Ice Cube, but no, that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. But anyways, but shout out to Mace Taggart, man. Shout out to Mace Taggart. Mace Taggart, that's my boy. Yeah, you already know what it is. We talk about sports and stuff like that, but the guy was talking about he's never been to a freaking barbershop, or he's been to a barbershop, but he's never got into the barbershop talk, whatever. To me personally, I think that's big cap. Because usually barbershops are like, I mean, that's usually like one of the most manly places you can go to. You talk about sports and women and all these type of things. And and I just hope um I kind of hope that's not the case, man. I hope these guys I don't know. I just hope these guys are not avoiding, these situations to where to be around other men, other masculine men. Because the thing about it is I think that's one of the a problem that they're getting all their information from the internet. They're not really getting their information from other men. And I don't know if other men are, really guiding them, what I'm saying, like uncles and things like that. I don't know. It it almost seems like, you know, um a lot of these guys are just on some internet shit. They just believe whatever they see on the internet, and they're not really getting any guidance from men, like uncles. I mean, definitely not fathers. You have mostly fatherless homes, and that's another thing too. Is feminism. Feminism is another thing that's we talk about it at nauseum, but feminism is another thing that has kind of changed the cultural dynamic. Um, the talking points, the bullet points of it is great. It's a great concept of equality, but just like everything, there's a whatever Glitters is not gold. Good morning, Toya. Good morning. We got Toya and we got Misha in the building, I hope. But shout out to Toya, man. Shout out to Toya. She be on in the spaces like was it Mason's room, Mace room. But anyways, no, we're just talking about, whatever glitter ain't gold. Whatever glitter ain't gold. And I think that's one of the biggest generational things, man. It's um our you know the older generation missed a lot of technology, but the newer generations kind of grew up in technology. And um the way that the brain works, I mean, I don't know, I'm not a psychologist, but anyways, but it's like um like for instance, when I see like a get rich scheme, right? When I see a get rich scheme for my generation, I'm almost always skeptical, right? But if you have the other newer generations, a lot of the time they're not very skeptical. In matter of fact, they will argue you to their blue in the face that you're wrong. You're just a hater. You're just clout chasing. You're just this. You're just that. And because they grew up in a generation of just constantly being marketed to, constantly being thrown ads to. Like it's like the social engineering is like it's on a different level. Now, not to say that my generation hadn't had any social engineering, but they grew up in it. They grew up in that social media era, you know what I'm saying, where people could be whoever the hell they want to be. You had these fake personas. You can be whatever the hell you want to be. And depending on your demographic, you're getting social engineering that's customized to make you act in a certain way. So I mean, they've been, ever since that they're little kids, they've been inundated with this stuff. That's why, man, you know what, with my son, I might just go, when I get his money, I just might just take his iPad and I just might just throw that bitch away, because he's watching YouTube, he's watching this imagery all the time that's socially programming him to to see the world in a different way. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of it's something that needs to be talked about. It's something that needs to be talked about. But I'm up here. I'm out, ya. Um, um, but it was very interesting because I had to take myself out of that mentally. I had to try to take myself out of that discussion from a mental standpoint, because all my biasness and all my thoughts would have tried to would have muddied the waters a little bit, and try to think of objectively of why are these, why are our thought processes so different? Why is our thought process so different? And it I think one of the biggest things is the internet. I think the internet has a lot to do with it, because you got to understand, I had to understand that, especially in I'm a Gen Xer, but the millennials, they grew up, you know, in in this in this internet age, programmed. That's how they grew up. They grew up, and they grew up at the height of it. They grew up in, even in the beginning of it. You see, when I graduated high school, we had the internet, but it wasn't we had, like, it was a kind of a not everybody had it, because it was expensive, but you got to understand, the millennials and the Gen Z people, this is a normal thing for them. Cell phones is a normal thing for them. So they've been socially programmed on a different level, like on a different level. That's right, proud elder millennial here. you know, you're proud. Yeah, proud elder millennial. Mm. Um, yeah, all right. Yeah, I guess because I was born in 1980, and I think 1980 was a cutoff for the generations. Let me look. I mean, Gen X generations. Let's look at the generations, and we can kind of like look at the generations. Uh, yeah, the baby boomers. Boy. All right. See, I'm a Generation Xer. All right. We're from 41 to 55. So that's why, with people, mm, I think you might be a millennial too. No, no, it was 19 no, millennials are, well, I'm on the cusp of it. I'm on the cusp of it, but I'm in between generations, the millennials and the Gen Xers. And that's one of the biggest and I try to explain that. I maybe didn't articulate it. um I was I'm stuck in a generation that actually lived in an era where there wasn't there wasn't the internet, there wasn't any of those things, and I actually seen traditional women and grew up around traditional women, and did that, traditional fathers, and the but this is but you got to also understand what's going on in my era was the crack epidemic. you know um that's when there was a social shift. But anyways, I grew up, I mean, I still have friends that are in their 50s. You know what I'm saying? I had OGs. I still have friends that are in their 50, like 50, like older traditional people. That's why when older cats, OGs, get up on the panels and things like that, I can kind of relate to them. There's a certain understanding. And um I have relationship to them. But I kind of relate to the people in my generation in a way. But a lot of that stuff kind of turns me off because it's very non-traditional. You know, you know, it's more, I guess my generation has more of like independent ideas, more liberal ideas, and I tend to fall on the more conservative, older school value system. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I am. I mean, if you because I'm at the tail end of Gen X, because I was born in 1980. I'm going to be turning 41 this year. And then you'll have the millennial, which is 1996. 1996, I think that's like 25 or late 30s or something like that. But anyways, I can't even do the math. So, but that gap is, in the way of thinking, is tremendous, because I partially grew up in, most of mine, it was the Dewey Decimal System. I used to have to go to a library, to look up a book. I used to have to use a payphone. I used to have to delay gratification. What I'm saying? I lived in that world where, what I'm saying, you didn't have caller ID. You didn't have that instant gratification type of thing. You didn't have Uber and all this type of stuff. I grew up in a generation where we actually you had to think for yourself. Like, for instance, when you go, if you wanted a date with a woman, you would have to go up to her. You would have to talk to her. You would have to get her number. You had to call her house, hope her father, first of all, pick up, hope her parents let you talk to her. And, you had to do all those type of steps. uh, we live in a generation now where they don't have to do that. You can just go on social media, get in somebody's DMs, like their picture, get their phone number. Next thing you know, that's a date. I mean, there's a cheat code to it. So it's a complete different way of thinking. It's a complete different, um, just everything is just completely different, you know. But anyways, Toya, yeah, you sound like you. I think you might be a millennial too. No, I'm definitely not millennial when it comes to some of my thought process is a little very millennial like, but I think to the core I'm more of a Gen X, more of a old school thought process, old school way of thinking, old school. That's why I bump heads a lot of times with a lot of women in my generation. That's one of the particular reasons, because I did see, uh, you know, um, traditional women, and the thing about it is when you most of the women in my generation grew up with that, you know, compete with men, hear me roar. I got a career. I can do whatever I want to do. That what do you call it? Just independent women. And if you look at the imagery also that they definitely um display. I mean, because you look at my generation also, the imagery is like the freaking uh colored purple, gone, was it waiting to exhale, black man ain't nothing, we ain't shit generation, like, we need to get it together, like y'all niggas ain't nothing, and blah blah blah. So we were always on the ropes. Then you had the crack epidemic. Then you had gangster rap music, so they built the caricature of a black man, what a black man was supposed to do, what masculinity is supposed to represent. You know what I'm saying? It was away from like it was just a hailstorm, and then all of a sudden, we go into a generation where the information gates, like, open up, the floodgates open up, and because of this information, dump, data dump or whatever. This is our imagery. This is our imagery right here. This is our imagery. We're all, Danny Glover. You know, like that. This is, yeah. My generation is like the Danny Glover. Beat Sealy to the pulp person, cheating and having a whole bunch of babies, and you know, old dog. What do you call it? Old dog. Yeah. Minister Society. I mean, it was. I mean, if you think about it, in the last 30 years, the amount of information that's been presented, especially from a black male perspective, that's been just completely, in my opinion, completely negative. Completely negative. Everything. Like, I mean, I'm just trying to think of what um positive. No, I mean there's been some positive things, but when it comes to masculinity, I mean, it's been watered down so bad. Like, think about it. Just really think about it. Take yourself out of it. But look at, okay, let's look at the R&B music. The R&B music in in the last 30 years. You know, I mean, it's basically, I mean, it's basically dudes begging, You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's like um there is like I can't even explain it. It none of it promotes duty and responsibility in raising a family, other than a couple songs and stuff like that. But there's never been anybody propped up to kind of represent that, the black family or anything like that. And I think that right there had a major, 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 you know, thing. I mean, it had a major thing about it, man. And you got to understand, as men, we were inundated with this type of stuff, all through our life, especially like, for instance, when I'm growing up in middle school in an impressionable years, uh, you know, there's nothing but a G thing comes out. Nothing but a G thing comes out. If you just look at the lyrics on Nothing But a G Thing. It's quite remarkable if you really listen and you understand the social engineering that's going on, and it when you're in the moment, you don't really understand what the hell's going on both sides, men and women, and it's like all most of the imagery, most of the stuff that we were getting was just promotion of degenerate shit, just degenerate shit. That was promotion of just degenerate behavior, nothing but a G thing, baby. Too low. Yeah, it like it's just outright degeneracy. Like one of my favorite artists, man, if I was listening um to 8 Ball and MJG, one of my first songs that I listened to really and this is, think about it, I'm in middle school, right? And those are your middle school is like some of your most uh like informative years and some of your most uh I want to say vulnerable, because that sounds like a very it's one of your most impressionable years, right? In this and then you have Outkast come out, right? you know from a hip hop perspective, Outkast to me is just like, they're like gods, right? But they also had some good social commentary. Also, but A Ball and MJG, going up through this out, and then I can understand they grew up in Memphis and they grew up like in a very rough area, and and the lyrics of it, it's just like there was a song called Lay It Down, Lay It Down," and it was like some pimp shit, like some pimp shit, but you listen to it, you're like, okay, hey. But again, there's a certain amount of social programming that's being done to me, you know, to when all those lyrics, I'm internalizing a lot of these lyrics. You just don't know. You just don't know. It's candy. It sounds good, makes you want to dance and all this type of stuff. But you gotta like I don't think a lot of people realize after years and years and years of this type of stuff, it might sound very innocent, listening to, was it what we used to listen to? Snoop Dogg, Tupac, Biggie, all those type of stuff, people portraying this lifestyle, and you're listening to it, you know and it you think it doesn't affect you, but it does kind of affect you. That's the thing about social engineering. You just don't really realize it. You just don't really realize it. And especially within hip hop, they kind of it engineers you, and it gets you to think a certain way. You just don't understand that you're being programmed. You just don't understand that you're being programmed. Like for instance, I'll give you an example. there was a period of time in the radio, and somebody, I forgot, I did one with Dave Anderson. Dave Anderson, shout out to him. He was a radio guy, right? Mm, you notice like some of the most like if you ever drive down the car sometimes like there's these stupid songs and you're like, my God, I can't get this song out of my head. Why the hell do I like this song? This sounds so stupid. This song is dumb, it's retarded, it's stupid, it's like so elementary or whatever. And you're like, oh my God, here's a song coming on again. And then next thing you know, you're talking about this song and you say, oh man, this song hurt. Man, this song fucking sucks. It sucks. It's terrible. Whatever. And next thing you know, you're singing that same song word for word. Why is that? You're sitting there singing this song word for word. You're listening to the radio, driving home, or like driving home, driving to school, or whatever, and you're singing this song word for word. And the thing about it is um, the radio. They were able to master social engineering, a while ago. Because like for instance, there's certain songs, I guess, that hits like the frontal lobe or something part of your brain and stimulates it. So that makes you like the. I mean, I guess it makes you more susceptible to like the song. Um, but the one example that they use in this whole thing. May I join the stream? Yes, absolutely. All right, let me put the link in the chat. Mm. There's a link in the chat if you want to join the stream. Join the stream. You already know. But anyways, there's a one example is like two examples. I'll use two examples. You remember that song? Jay-Z was always a good rapper, but Jay-Z did not really get on the scene until it was a certain album. The certain album was when they made that remake of Annie. It's called, was it? It's a hard knock life for us. It's a hard knock life for us. Yeah, like those type of songs, those type of cadences. That's why you ever listen to a lot of the dumbed down songs. They're like remake. I mean, it's already an exact. They already have an exact science now. What up, man? What up? What up, James Jones? But they've already made it an exact science, man, of how to really stimulate, the frontal cortex or the part of the brain. Shout out to Toya, man. What's going on?
Good morning. I like what you're talking about, and if I can add to the conversation, I would like to, but go ahead.
Absolutely, man. Add to the conversation, man. Definitely add to the conversation. What just to give a recap, the old premise of this of what the stream was whatever glitter ain't gold. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you see that looks good is not always good. There's a lot of stuff, especially I want to say in this generation. I don't want to make it a generational war, but okay, I'll go ahead. Like you'll see a thing, and then a lot of people don't understand whatever that looks good. There's always a negative byproduct to it.
Mhm.
There's always a negative byproduct to it. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Yeah.
I can't wait till we find out what the backlash is for all this COVID stuff. The history is being written as we live.
Um. No, we already know what the negative. I mean, it's going to be anti-socialism. Anti people are going. We're going to have so many people that are antisocial
Hmm.
because of COVID. Think about it. Let's just say if you were a person that's starting out your career and all of a sudden you were sent home. And now, let's just say if you're in the impressionable career years when you're 23, now you're learning to work from home, away
Mhm.
from colleagues, and you're not talking to people on a daily basis. You're not showing those daily interactions. What do you think that's going to do in a couple years?
Yeah, no, you're right. I can agree that there are things that we already see the effects of, but I'm talking about the stuff we don't see yet. Like you were just
Oh
saying,
yeah, yeah, the
while
hit.
we were going through things and, it was seemingly harmless, growing up, you now can look back on what we were doing and see
Right.
where the harm was versus when
Hmm.
you were doing it.
You know what? We've already seen a lot. Especially from the tail end. Have you ever dealt with a millennial that was like, maybe was it the tail end of the millennials? It's like 1996.
Mhm.
Because I remember one time I had a brief stint as a manager, right?
Mhm.
And I was completely just befuddled on how the lack of critical thinking
Oh,
skills
yeah, yeah, yeah.
some of those people had. Like, and it wasn't their fault.
Mhm.
The thing about it is I think they were so reliant on microwave information. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So, but when they had to think for themselves, and they was not previewed. Like, for instance, if you take a cell phone away for some of them, they can have a complete meltdown.
Yeah, you're absolutely
You
right
mean I
about
can't
that.
use Google?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, I can't use Google? Oh no. Like, hold on, calm down. It, it- does that make sense though?
It absolutely does. I was going to say, from my experience with management in a corporate setting, the hardest part for me was coming to the conclusion that they simply lack the ability to have self-governance even,
Right. Right.
because there were certain things that I was raised with. Like I've been working since I was 14.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I got to my 20s, I had already figured it out that, okay, me having this job is not just for me to get paid. People
Mm-hmm.
actually depend on me. So if I don't
Right.
show up, then that has an effect on productivity. And
Absolutely.
like as someone who was closer in age to some of the people that I was managing, it used to really get lost on me how these people would come in and have all these excuses for why they couldn't do something when
Mm-hmm.
that just wasn't an option for me.
Right. You were long. I mean, you were taught to figure it out.
Right,
You were
exactly.
taught to figure it out.
Exactly.
I remember one time I went in, and we were going through a merger. I was working in the bank, and this is when I first got into management, right? We were going through a bank merger, right? As soon as the merger happens, oh, okay. The my lead manager, which is the branch manager, goes on a leave of absence. Oh, okay. And then I have a couple of bankers that get fired, so I'm the only person in there. So I had to learn how to learn. I basically had to learn how to do everything on my own. Nobody helping me. Just trial by fire. I had to put in the time, and I had to actually just. I couldn't. I mean, excuses wasn't an option. I just had to do it. You know what I'm saying? I had to do it.
And
I
I
couldn't
bet
fold
you
my.
you don't regret it. I bet you don't regret it because I bet you
No,
it's what you
no,
are made
no,
of today. Like
no.
those are the experiences that
Right,
make you worth your salt.
right. Hmm. It was like, it's just even the mentality of college is different.
Mhm.
Like, when I went to college, I mean, I didn't take no damn years off. I didn't take no semesters
Right.
off. I, I didn't be like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go. I'm going back to school. No, I was like, nah, I'm finished this. I finished some. I mean, I started this. I'm finishing it. But you could have a person right now that's in their maybe 35, and that's no shot to them, right? That is just finishing up an associate degree that they started maybe 10 years ago. Am I wrong?
And they don't see anything wrong with it.
No, I'm
like
not
this.
saying. I mean, I don't want to paint the picture that there's anything
No.
wrong with it, but I'm just saying it's just like, if I started something like that, like I'm trying to get some tangible things out of it. I'm not just trying to get the plaque or anything like that. I'm actually trying to get some tangible things out of it. It's just not. I- It's like, what's the point if because like say for instance, if you're in accounting in a 10-year gap, there's probably it's probably accounting is not going to be the same. You know what I'm saying? It's
You
like
have to
what do
start
you
all the way
whatever you
over. Yeah.
exactly. You got you basically if you want some tangible knowledge, you basically have to start all over again, right?
Hmm.
Or just pick up where you left out off at.
But even in doing
I
that, you've like this term gap year has become such a buzzword, and I'm just like, I mean, I see how sometimes that's the choice that you have to make because life happens, but I can't imagine being one of these people who is, more to power to them, but be one of those people who are in their 50s or 60s and going to undergrad.
oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's one of those, those concepts that you're just like, wow. It's like I can't imagine going back into an undergrad degree
Mm-mm.
program knowing what I know now, and especially if you're already stuck in your way. I mean,
Yeah.
it makes sense. Because I mean, how long ago did you go to college?
About 16 years ago.
16 years ago. Did you take any night classes or any late classes at night?
I did, but I mean, I went right after high school and I was on
Okay.
campus. So,
Okay, so you were on campus, but okay, if you ever took the reason I said the night ones, have you ever been in a class with that 50-year-old that can't
yes.
stop raising his hand?
Yes. And that's exactly why I say I don't think I could do it. I can't be that
That's yeah,
person.
that's what I'm saying. And then they're always challenging the teacher. And
Mhm.
you remember that 50, that 50-year-old? Have you ever been in a group project with the fucking
Oh
with
my
the
gosh.
50-year-old that owns their own business or
Yep.
is there just to finish their degree?
Yep.
Basically to prove, they run a successful business. They're more successful than anybody in the room,
Mhm.
but they wanted to go back to finish that, and it's like wow. And then they have to because they already know all these concepts because they had to kind of do it in their own business, but they have to challenge the nuances of the theories that they're learning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
because
it can be quite annoying.
practical experience is very valuable, but the problem is in that setting, it's moot
Right.
because everybody else in that setting doesn't have that experience.
Hmm.
So, you often come across sounding like a know-it-all or somebody that just doesn't need to be there.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm glad that you had that experience because I've had plenty of those experiences where I was like, oh my God, here's Ted again. Wants to raise his hand to prove the teacher wrong.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, and then you hold up everybody else's progress because now we got to take this detour.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. What's been going on in the manosphere, and I think that relates because there's that one guy that's getting killed right now. Myron.
Oh.
One thing about him, he's you can tell he's well read. He's read. I mean, one of the books I think he's probably read was it Gail Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and like because he's all about that mastermind stuff. Basically take everybody else's idea, put it, package it, and sell it as your own. You know what I'm saying? That's what he's done. He's read a couple
Mhm.
books, a bunch of books and stuff like that, and got a whole bunch of facts and facts or statistics and stuff like that. And and the thing, what a lot of in where he's leading a lot of these guys into a burning building is
Mm.
where he's not telling them, I don't care how much facts you got, I don't care how many books you've read. it doesn't matter. You still need real life experience. You got to have real life experience. Like you can,
Yeah.
sure, you like, oh yeah, if you marry a woman, she, there's 80 some percentage chance that she's going to divorce you. Yeah, blah blah blah. Who cares? I mean, they don't care. I mean, shit happens in life. You know what I'm saying? If you go to law school and learn all the facts, be the top of your class or whatever, it's still a practice. You're not going to be Johnny Cochran right out of law school. You're going to still have to take your lumps, right or wrong, right? You can go to medical school. It's not going to mean that you're like, a brain surgeon right out the gate, right? You still have to take those lumps. So I think what he's have sold these guys that, all you got to do is just read a couple books, listen to some Zoom calls, and then all of a sudden you can become an alpha male. And that's pretty. I mean, the the downside of that is going to be worse, because these guys are getting already getting hurt, right? And they're believing these guys and giving the money to these guys, and then they think that, oh yeah, I've learned some alpha principles and stuff like that. Now women are going to start treating me better, and they're still going to take those losses. What do you think that's really going to do to their psyche after they've learned all this stuff, thinking that they're going to get the success, and the results that they're getting is not the results that they dreamed of? I mean, just from you, if you were in that position, what do you think that would do to these young men?
Well, it would be highly demoralizing right off the bat.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fake it till you make it. But that doesn't work in life. It just doesn't
No,
work.
but wisdom teaches you that.
Right. It just
Like I
doesn't
was
work.
saying to someone the other day, you keep living and you learn a few more things. Just keep doing it. Just keep waking up every day and living.
Yeah. I mean, Bill Gates reads a book, was it a book every day or something like that? I mean, like, why is he reading? He's like,
Right.
he was the richest guy in the world. Why is he reading? Mark Cuban says he still takes courses. Why is he taking courses?
Hmm.
Because you learn, it takes 10 years to be an overnight success. There's no way to cheat
Yes.
success. There's no way.
Yes. I believe
Yeah.
in that 10,000 hours rule too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I do believe in that. I do believe in
Malcolm
that, but
Gladwell.
yeah, yeah. But somebody also told me too, like, to be expert level at something, you just have to know a little bit more than the regular person. That's,
Well,
I
that's
didn't
also
believe
true.
that. That is true. I
Yeah.
didn't know that, because I remember I went to grad school, right? And I remember I had took a class. It was like market. No, it was finance, and finance at undergrad level. That's like one of those classes that want to make you just want to. Sometimes you just want to go and just quit. Just say, I give up. I'm done. I'm done, right? So I'm thinking, and I got past it. So I took it on. And the thing about it was, at the graduate level, was so much easier, like crazy easy compared to what it was before, because I already been through it. You know what I'm saying? But it was just like some of the concepts was just a little bit more. You would think from undergrad to grad would be like maybe a significant difference, but it's not. I mean, that was just my experience. But you ever been
I
something
didn't
like,
get a I'm sorry.
have you ever went through something, and it was kind of like supposed to be the next level, and then you
Hmm.
got to that next level and you're like, man, you know what, this not really, this is pretty much the same, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's disappointing because as someone who prides herself on respecting what came before me,
Right.
each time I try to learn something new, that's where I that's like my entry point for it. And so
Hmm.
once I do the work to figure out something new, and then I realize, okay, this is all a sham once you get past this point, it's really
Hmm.
disappointing because there's still that thirst for knowledge.
Right. Now, so I hope I'm not wrong in the background. You actually wrote a book before, right?
No, it's so funny. Like a couple people have asked me that, and I'm like, where are y'all getting this from? I'm published as an editor, but I've never written an actual book. I've edited and proofread books, but I've never written
Oh,
one.
okay. Oh man, you got to be. I mean, I'm sure on social media you have to be a thorn in people's side because you're sitting
Oh
there
yeah.
probably trying to correct. Ah! You know what? Maybe you can put me up on some game. One of the problems, and this is a admitted deficiency that I have, is like I'm an absolute terrible at grammar,
Ah.
terrible at writing.
Mhm.
I mean, I tried. I mean, I remember I've tried so hard. I've used Grammarly. I've used all that, and I still miss words.
Grammarly
Uh,
is great.
right, but I still miss words. Like, I mean, I can if I write a paragraph, it's still going to be terribly written. Um, and I don't know. It's like something I've tried to fix. I can't. I mean, I'm just so I, I've tried it. I tried. I remember I used to have the. I used to have to write a paper. I would probably spend about four times as much time trying to edit the paper versus me actually write. Because I'm a type of person that because I like to talk a lot. I just can just get a concept and just write all
Mhm.
about it, like just write about it. But when it comes to proofreading, editing, it's terrible. I
Yeah.
mean, how? What does that? Do you? I mean, do you have any? I guess you probably have some tips on how to become a better editor. But
Well,
why are some people so bad at grammar and just writing?
I think the biggest thing is we tend to write how we speak, and
Oh,
that's the biggest mistake you can make as a writer. While it's good to get it down,
uh-huh.
the editing process is about the audience. So I always try to tell people to consider how it will be read, not how you know it.
Right,
Because you know the story, you're the one telling the story. But if you want the person who's reading it to know the story as well as you, then you have to assume they know nothing.
right.
So whenever I did write things, and I've written articles, I've worked for magazines and newspapers, but um, I always tried to keep that in mind. This person who's picking this up, they're getting this information for the first time. Even if they're not, I made that assumption because then
Mm-hmm.
I would do them a service by over explaining, and then when you get to the editing and proofreading process, you kind of can see where you can eliminate things.
Mm-hmm.
But also with editing, it's good to take time away from a piece and then go back to edit it, because if you do it over and over again, you're just going to drive yourself crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You have to spend some time away from something and then come back and edit it.
What would you consider yourself a grammar snob?
Yes. Yes. I don't call myself that, but everybody else does. So yeah, I try not to be so stringent with it, especially with family and friends, because I know it's annoying. But it's also annoying to me when there's a to me it's about making sure people intelligently express themselves. It's never
Mm-hmm.
about pointing out ineptitude. I never want to make you feel bad about it. I always want to make you know that you have an option to sound smarter.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
All
that's where
right.
I come from with it. It's not really about me being like, you idiot, why did you say that? You spelled that wrong. You used the wrong there. You used the wrong to. Like,
Oh,
it's not about that. It's just about it sticks out to me very glaringly. And so I
right.
have to, if I acknowledge it and you give me the permission to bring it to your attention, then I will. But if you tell me you don't like it, I just won't. I'll keep it to myself.
Mhm. Since we're on the topic of what glitter ain't always gold,
Hmm.
whatever glitter ain't gold. Yeah, I should probably edit that thing, but oh, but no, talk about us like maybe you don't have to get too personal. Where you thought something was gold. I mean, you thought it glittered and you thought it was gold, and then you find out this was a complete sham in your life.
Multi-level marketing.
They got you too.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
you
you can quit.
graduate.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, as a multi-level marketer, you might have, you've ruined probably somebody's life because
Uh-huh.
you sold them. You're like, hey, you know what? You can quit your job. All you got to do is just recruit these two people every day, and you're
Mhm.
gonna make 100,000, and then you can make 300,000, and you can go on vacation. You can work from your
Mhm.
laptop, all that type of
You get
stuff.
a pink Cadillac. That was the first thing I thought of when you said that.
you know and I talked about it earlier. We that is one of the things you don't really understand. I don't think a lot of people understand. We grew up in that generation of the
Mhm.
get rich scheme.
Mhm.
Get rich scheme, like, hey, you know what, you can be a millionaire all the or the infomercial. You remember the infomercial?
Yes.
These diet pills.
Mhm.
Yeah, you take these diet pills, you don't gotta exercise. We just gonna give you these diet pills and you're gonna be skinny next
Yep.
month.
Yep. Not to mention you're probably going to lose a spleen, but yeah, you'll be skinny.
But what I'm saying is I don't know because I'm in between generations. Like I'm saying, I'm on the tail end of the Gen X, and then the millennial. I would be an older millennial,
Mhm.
but when I remember as a kid, I wasn't really inundated with all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And but the people in their 30s or stuff like that, they were inundated with that stuff from the jump. They seen that stuff from the jump, like the get rich scream, but it was visual. It was visual. Because the thing about it, when I was a little kid, I can't really remember seeing all those infomercials like you see now. I mean, I can see them as an adult. I mean, I saw them as an adult or a teenager, but you got to understand, like, some of these kids or some of these people that grew up, they seen that shit from the jump, and they had the internet to see it from the jump. Online or late night TV and all this type of stuff. They seen all that stuff, so they they can't. I don't know why they're so susceptible to it. That's the thing I can't understand. It's like you have all these people that's telling you that you know there's no easy way to get. You're gonna have to go through some lumps, but they're able to sell this stuff all the time. Why is that? Like, why do we want to believe that you don't that you can cheat the system?
I'm going to
Where's that
answer this.
insatiable desire to do it?
Yeah. I'm going to answer this by bringing up another thing that I thought was gold and glitter and turned out not to be. The gynocracy. I'm
Oh
just saying.
no,
I'm just
no,
saying.
not the gynocracy. No, not that gynocracy. No, no,
Yeah, I'm
please, not the
telling you,
gynocracy.
I was just talking about this last night, how I was indoctrinated to believe that all you have to do is work hard and get your degree and get your high paying job and go be great as a
No,
woman by yourself. And this is amazing until
yeah,
you look around at all the people who raised you that way and you see them by themselves and you're like, wait a minute,
yeah.
am I on the fast track to
Hmm.
loneliness?
Man, you know what? I tell you what, man. I don't know what version. The There's I guess there's a male version that kind of is getting these young guys. Luckily, I was around traditional people that told me that's a damn what's the name. It's like um, these young guys think that all you gotta do is work hard. you got to do is just get your money up, and you'll get all these women, and you'll do all this type of stuff, and live this bachelor lifestyle, travel around, blah blah blah, and do this stuff, and this is gonna make you happy. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, you can pay your way out of success. I mean, into success. Long as you get your money right and you get this right and whatever, and but they don't talk about the downside of that shit. They don't talk about the downside. You
Nope.
can get successful. You're gonna have a lot of fake people around you.
Yep.
You're gonna have a lot of fake people around you. You're gonna have a lot of people trying to take advantage of you. You're gonna get, if you have all these women, that you are betting or whatever. There's a lot of problems that come with it. But the guys
Hmm.
won't tell you about those damn problems, man. They won't tell you about but who can tell you about those problems? It's like that OG guy, that has 10 kids, you know what I'm saying, but he can't get a job because he can't work. Guess what? Because he owes so much damn child support. He can't even get a
Yeah.
license because he owes child
Yeah.
support. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
You don't know, like he ain't gonna tell you about all those fake pregnancies that got blamed on him. He ain't gonna tell you about that kid that he thought it was his, but it wasn't his. You feel me? He ain't gonna tell you
Hmm.
about that. He ain't gonna tell you about those losses that he took. He ain't gonna tell you about all that. No, you just know him as OG Mac, in the Cadillac, got all these kids, and he's an alpha male and all this. He ain't gonna tell you about, hey, he ain't gonna tell you about like the depression that he had because what I'm saying
Oh my
he
God,
didn't know.
preach.
He ain't gonna tell you about all that. He's not going to tell you about all that. Why? He ain't gonna tell you about that. You know what? He wanted to stay in jail on purpose. You know why? Because he didn't want
Mm.
to face the real world.
Mm.
Huh? He's not gonna tell you
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, because that's not
He,
glittery.
no, he ain't gonna tell you about how he watched his mama go in. I mean, have dudes in and out, and he thought that's how they're supposed to treat women. He ain't gonna tell you that, is he? Why would he tell you that? Why would he?
Doesn't serve anybody.
Mm-mm. Doesn't serve anybody, man. You know what I'm saying? But just keep thinking, you know, everything is glittering. I mean, it's the thing. It's like if everybody told the whole story, people will have a different perspective of stuff, right? Like I can't even go in the manosphere room and say, you know what? Um, listen, even though my marriage didn't work out like I wanted it to be, I learned so much, and to this day, I don't regret none of it. The day when my son was born, that's the greatest day of my life. I'll
Mm.
put that on everything. You know, that feeling that when he was born, because when he started crying, I cut the cord and everything. He started crying. He was crying, crying, crying. As soon as I put my hand on him, he stopped.
Oh,
He stopped
yeah.
immediately. And the thing about it is you'll never like I don't care where like what trip you take, whatever you do, you'll never get that feeling. Never. You can't replace that feeling. The first time he called you dada, the first time you see him walk, the first like how when I used to come home, and then as soon as I open up the door, I see somebody running, like acting like they've never seen me before. You know what I'm saying? It's like just
Hmm.
happy, just like that those type of feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't even discuss that with young men because there's so many what you call it I don't even call it I think it's like sign language to kind of shame you out of wanting that,
Oh yeah.
wanting the family, oh no, you're a beta male simp, you're a beta male provider. You are.
Hmm. Yeah,
I mean, when you really think about it, it sounds so silly, doesn't it?
it does. But they've built up all these barriers to their vulnerability because what you're talking about is really vulnerability to experience something like that.
Hmm.
And so, in the same way that I'm talking about the gynocracy, is what you're talking about with young men. Young men have had to build up this boundary or these barriers to accessing that part of them. that they think
Right.
that it's taboo
Oh yeah.
in the very same ways that me putting any type of priority on my personal life was taboo because
Right.
that's a distraction. Whoa, how dare you try to appease a man or be attractive to a man? Like it
Yeah.
makes no sense because it just takes you further away from where you really want to go.
Exactly. I mean, the one of the saddest parts of it is like you can't really be objective. You're not really able to be objective about these things. Like I was trying to explain earlier, I can like for instance, in my generation, for me, you might have a dude that's in his 40s, right? He might have experienced maybe two heartbreaks of a woman like really completely, twisting them up, like really hard or
Hmm.
whatever. And then a woman might have like one or two guys that do that to them or that love their life or whatever. That's one experience or whatever. These guys are growing up in a generation basically where both sides are taught to completely just. I mean, just to not give the fuck about the other like. So you
Hmm.
might have a person that's in their 30s, right? That's been through 5 or 6 relationships, and they've all been dumpster fires. They're all been dumpster
Right.
fires to where they got hurt or the other person got hurt, right? So after a while they become numb to it, right? They become numb to it. So you have, people are getting into relationships nowadays, especially when they're 35, 34, like where they just kind of have they don't even have the I don't even think they have the ability to bond with each other.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy, isn't it?
No, it is. It is. But that's because just like that whole microwave thing,
Right.
it's like, okay, I'll pop this in for a couple minutes and then when I'm done, I'll toss it. And it's like, no,
Hmm.
you're talking about an entire person. This is a human
Right.
being, not a piece of plastic, not a hot
Right.
pocket.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's like there's not even courting. You can't even court
Hmm.
because let's just say if a dude tried to court a woman, right? I'm just talking about in this, and I'm not trying to bash on women or anything like that. Say, let's just say if you're interested in a young lady, right, and you're trying to court her, right, and let's just say she has 4 social media accounts, and
Hmm.
she's halfway good looking. How can you really court her?
Yeah,
How can you?
especially if those social media accounts are her priority.
Exactly. You can't really court her because
Focus
she's
on
getting
yourself.
courted by four different dudes or five
Yeah,
different. Who knows?
yeah. And it's pseudo courting, as it's not even really courting.
Right. Can you really court her? How you gonna get the like? Oh, okay. Let me look at this guy. Okay, Jimmy. Oh man, Jimmy. Let me look on Jimmy's social media.
It's just
Uh,
simple, like
I
when.
really, I really like. I mean, I really like Brandon. But Brandon only has 10,000 followers. Jimmy has 100,000 followers, and plus he has a blue check mark. So
Right.
damn, he has a Lambo on. Oh damn, I don't know. I really like the other guy, but he doesn't have the following the other guy has. Come on, man, that shit crazy, man.
It is, and it makes no sense. When you think about even just the fact that now when you meet somebody, they're more willing to give you their Instagram versus their phone number. So you never had a chance,
Yeah.
like I can't really. And the thing is with me, while I do have social media, it has its place. It is
Hmm.
not my reality. I have a very clear line between what happens on that versus what's happening in my real life.
Right.
But I guess that's because I'm an elder millennial and I did have a portion of my childhood without uh, internet.
Hmm.
So
Nah.
I feel lucky in terms of as far as that goes. But people who are 10 years younger than me don't have that luxury. That this is all
No.
they know.
Yeah, this is all they know, and I mean they don't understand. They just don't understand there was a different world. I mean, I'll give you another, and I'll talk about this. If it's even just the whole process of relationships is completely different. And back in the day, I mean, if you were a guy, you would have to go up to a woman, talk to her, possibly get her phone number.
Mhm.
And if you were able to get her phone number, hope that you called the house phone and she picked up. Hope that her parents didn't pick up and be like, "Who is this?"
Yep.
And you know what? And then the anticipation, and then you had to talk to her, maybe get her to go to the movies with you, and you'd be talking on the phone until like late at night. You'll be sometimes you'll fall asleep talking on the phone with each other. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You remember that
Yes.
yeah, I
Busy
mean, but
signal.
that was that was almost that was, I mean, that was actually something kind of intimate. You know what I'm saying? Because you'll be talking about, like, you would really talk about different things. You can get to know somebody on a different level.
Mhm.
I mean, the thing about it is even that level of intimacy, especially in this era, is almost shunned. Man, like, come on, man. And she'd be like, you get in a 5 minute conversation, be like, "Oh, can you text me? Can we
Yeah.
text each other instead of
Mhm.
talking or whatever?" And then because the thing is just like, well, I really like him, but or I really like her, but I still want to see if I can get Sandra. That way I can talk to both of them.
Right.
You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
All these options are not necessarily a good thing, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, well, Sandra says that she's an entrepreneur on the internet, but I don't really know if she's an entrepreneur because I've never really had a conversation with her.
Mhm.
I
Yep.
just see what's on her Instagram.
Yep.
Let me see if she wants to come over. Where you at? What you doing?
People live.
I was laughing because it's 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 like even the notion that you're gonna have anything meaningful from those type of interactions is just funny as hell to me.
But that's why we're in this constant devolvement because that's the thing. There is still that expectation of something real built on a foundation of fakeness. You can't you can't get something real when you're starting off with a foundation of something fake. This is just
Yeah,
matter of fact.
no, no. I mean, it's crazy because if you go on any like dating site, you'll have in the bio, "I'm looking for something real." But
Mhm.
every picture you have on there is filtered out, and there's nothing real
Yes.
about what you're showing. And when he's like, "I want something long term and something real." How the hell are you gonna get something real on a fake foundation?
Mhm.
Huh?
Or you posting pictures of yourself from 10 years ago, 300 300 pounds later. You're like, "Wait, this is not." Trust me, I've seen that happen before where it's like present yourself as one thing, but in person, it's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, they say that everybody has like the best representation of themselves. Like, you
Mhm.
have your attorney, your defense attorney or your attorney when you first meet someone. They're selling the case of
Yes.
why instead of showing the real you.
Yes.
It's crazy. I mean, what do you? I mean, do you think because you're an older millennial. I mean, you said an older millennial. I'm a younger Gen Xer. Because
Mhm.
our generation is like a year apart. It's
Mhm.
like a year apart.
Yep.
I mean, you know, the young people are completely jaded. Like, they're just completely jaded. Just from the imagery and stuff like that. I mean, where do we go from here? Like in 10 years, what do you think people are even going to be able to have relationships with each other?
I do think they will, but they will just look very different from what you and I know them to be.
Right,
Because while you and I have no appreciation for this fake foundation thing that people are doing,
right.
there is some validity to it. This is what they have. So they're that younger generation is tasked with making something out of that. Now, what they make with it remains to be seen. But I think that they will have to find a way to make relationships work amongst that. And we're nowhere near the end of it. It's just getting more and more convoluted as time goes on because now you're adding on to the fact that people don't even identify themselves as he or she anymore. Now you
Yeah.
have they.
Oh my God. It's like I said that earlier, and I'm glad you brought up this term, that the gynocracy.
Mhm.
It I think that period is a freaking extreme outlier that I think that is, I mean, I can't really think of one social thing in history before it that has created such an extreme change on human interaction. Because even with, I mean, even in the olden days, I mean, there was tradition, some type of tradition where people, male and female were can act tradition. I mean, you might have, like, some of the outliers or whatever, but with like feminism, gynocracy, and stuff like that, I mean, my God, some of the ugly things that are coming out of it, it's just I've never seen anything like it. Like there's a trans woman now that can have a baby.
Yep.
Hello?
Yep. And
That
I was
is.
actually talking to my mom about this the other day, who is a Gen Xer. My mom's in her mid 50s, and
Mhm.
she's all into this show now. I think it's called Love After Lockup, but I'm not sure.
Oh
I
yeah,
know that
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah. It's probably love. It's love after lockup. Yeah, probably because I think the love after lockup. Yeah, that's a popular show now.
yeah, and she was just sitting there like amazed and totally enthralled in this story. And she's like, I just don't get it. I don't get how these people get to this age and they decide with all their success that they're going to just seriously date these people while they're in prison. And then when they come out, the people come out and live with them and they start to. And I'm like, this is a direct reflection of, I told her this. I said, this is a direct reflection of people hitting a wall, mostly women, because
Hmm.
you've been told all your life you can have everything you want and you can do it without a man until you realize, but you don't really want to do it without a man. And then you try to find the man that's on par with you, but you took his job, so he can't be on par with you. So now, what are you left with? What bin can you pick out of? And that's the bin that they go for. And, when I said that to her, she was kind of like blown away because she never really put two and two together. But when I said it, she said, that actually makes sense. I said, yeah, I don't know why we thought we needed all these rights and all these jobs only to turn around in our, 30s and 40s to start being like, wait a minute, maybe I did that wrong.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. It just it doesn't make sense on how. Well, it makes sense. Feminism, the
Hmm.
gynocracy.
Yep.
That we don't need to like I guess procreate. We don't need to procreate, like your procreation is on a back burner. I mean, but I'm just saying the biology behind it um proves that you don't have forever.
Exactly. And that it was never meant to be this way. Like, it just wasn't. It just wasn't. We keep going against the grain and being confused by the results.
Right, right. I mean, it's never supposed to. I mean, there is a reason. There's a time limit on it,
Hmm.
and there's a time limit on it, and I just don't understand why people can't really realize that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And and the thing about it is like, for instance, my grandmother, like you notice, like a lot of the older generation, like my grandmother, her sisters, and all this type of stuff that had a whole bunch of freaking kids.
Hmm.
that they end up living into their like
Yeah.
90s
Yeah.
and the 80s and
Yeah.
90s, and then now you're having, people croak out and die at like 65,
Yep.
70. They're not even making it that far. They're getting these diseases and things like that. Like,
Hmm.
did you notice that? And it um like purpose. I mean, I guess what what purpose can your a career really give you, knowing that you're expendable.
Exactly.
You know, because you can't really be expendable as a mom.
Th- There you go. There you go.
You can walk into the office tomorrow and be like, "Hey, Janet, we decided that we don't need you no more.
And
Thank
there's
you for the 20 years. Here's the severance package. Bye."
yeah, take a couple post-it notes with you while you're at it on your way
I
out.
know, but your son and your daughter, your family can't be like, "Hey, ma, we don't need you no more."
No. I mean, that's a perfect way of putting it. I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah,
And
you
the equity, the sweat equity that you put into it
right.
usually gives you a pretty good return, but not at work.
Nah. I mean, I don't know what. So making money is more valuable than making a life,
It would seem
huh?
it would seem so, and that's why that's why you and I can attest to that not being true. But those of us who are 10 years younger than you and I don't know that yet.
So I mean, even for the young men, so you mean to tell me, okay, I can be successful and I can get this Lambo, and that Lambo is going to make me feel better as a man than actually having a child and raising,
Or a companion that
or a
actually,
companion
yeah.
that helps you.
Mhm. Yeah, because the Lambo can hold you at night, keep you warm, give you
You
sound
only
advice. Yeah, that Lambo is a multitasker.
But if you really think about it, but this is the idea that these guys are selling. They're
Yeah,
selling this idea,
and people
and
are buying it.
this people are buying it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they really buy it. I think it's almost like peer pressure.
You do?
I think so. Some of these spaces, because I think some of these young guys really definitely want, especially some of the guys that's had a lot of trauma in their life. They really want somebody to love. They really want somebody to love them. They really want to do that. But I just think that if they do and be vulnerable and admit those type of things, their peers are going to try to shame them out of it. And it's gonna. I mean, the peers are really like, for instance, if you wanted to be a father, a father and had a family and stuff like that. If you go in some of these spaces, they're gonna call you. They're gonna actually act like you're deficient as a man.
Hmm.
Think about it. Just think about that.
Yeah, that's
You
terrible.
are deficient as a man. You are a sucker. You are uh, a beta male. If you want to have children and actually take care of them,
Doesn't make sense.
okay. You are a beta male. I mean, you're a pick me.
Mhm.
You are a weak woman if
Mhm.
you want to have a family.
Mhm. Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying. It goes to completely against biology.
You're a pick Misha if you go let a man control you and how dare you, let a man control you, or not control you, but tell you
Lead
you
me.
shouldn't like you shouldn't be twerking on the internet. How you gonna let a man tell you not to be able to do that, sis?
Right. Right. And the danger in that is thinking that there's something wrong with that. That's the danger because it's like it's coming from a place of pride, but you can't see that because you want to have the right so bad.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? He must accept it. You know what I'm saying? He's like, hey, girl, girl, leave him. You
Hmm.
know, even though, I haven't left Tyrone, and Tyrone has had outside kids on me and he's, dogged me out for years. But, I want you to leave your man, because he ain't making enough money. He got potential and stuff, but you should leave him and get you a baller.
Right. But even if she has left him, she's miserable and alone, and she just wants you to be there with her too.
I know, what I'm saying is like these ideals are getting pushed,
Hmm.
and it's almost being accepted. I'm being totally facetious when I say those
I
things.
know.
Yeah, but it's just it's common practice though. It's common practice, and it's there's uh sometimes like with men, I'm ashamed of it. Sometimes I have these uh chest bumping, times with my and I forget that some of these young dudes are very impressionable. They really look up to because a lot of them don't really have father figures, and they don't really have anybody to talk to. So when they go online and they listen to some of these spaces, and you having grown ass men, not really being forthcoming on what life's all about, uh, it's kind of, sometimes I'm a little bit ashamed of it, because I don't really um, make an effort to really tell these guys, man, you might want to look at, the other side of the coin. You might want to look at the other side of the coin. I know it's boring, it's boring, that lunch pail and the hard hat lifestyle. But if you ask a lot of guys, and I know this personally, which one that they would rather have the hard head and the hard hat and the lunch pail lifestyle or the fast life. Most of them will be like the hard head and the lunch pail life, because it's much easier. It's much more fulfilling. You make memories on it. You know what I'm saying? You remember like those special things when you had the fast life. You shit, you don't remember none of that bullshit. Like I don't remember none of that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Going out and getting drunk
Yeah.
and I don't remember none of that. But I do remember when my son was being born. I remember when he first rolled over. I remember, the first time, I knew I was like, hey, I'm gonna marry this girl. Yeah, I knew all that type of stuff. I mean, that's a hard head in the lunch pail life. It's not the fast life. Because think about it. I mean, I don't know if you went through a period of time where you used to live the fast life. Can you really remember it though?
I've never lived the fast life. I've always been practical. That's why I'm not like the most popular because like I was never the girl who wanted to be in the club when all my friends were in the club. I'm a geek. Like, so no, I've never lived the
Uh,
fast life.
Never.
No,
You didn't
no.
go through the proverbial harlot stage.
No, I don't. I that's the thing. I recently came to the conclusion that I haven't just by listening to the manosphere and hearing people talk about seriously, I was like
Girl,
I,
hold on,
I
girl. You need to go. You need to go and live your best. You need to go and live your best life.
I was
What?
really shocked when I started hearing these stories about these women who just out here lobbing their boxes at men and I'm like, I never did that. I
Girl,
never did that.
you never went through the harlot stage. I go to the harlot stage where
Yeah.
you were just throwing it out there in a circle, just giving it up.
I mean, like here's the thing. I get it. I understand why it happens and that a lot of women do it, but I guess because I was a late bloomer, it just never um occurred to me, you
Hey
know.
man, hey, hold on, man. We better not let. I gotta ban some sisterhood because if they hear this, the sisterhood hears this, that you protected your womb, man, they're gonna be mad as hell at your ass. Like
Well,
you actually protected your womb? How dare you?
I know, I know. And I'm also not one of those people who says that all men are trash. I really believe in men and I love black men and I will never divest from them. Like so I'm just racking up a bunch of pick Misha points.
Oh man, hey, the sisterhood finna get you. What do you mean? Hey, girl. So when you were in your 20s, you didn't
Hmm.
have one of your sisterhood sisses, convince you to get you a thug, to knock it out the box
Yeah, they
and
would
possibly get
try.
you.
They would try, and they would actually, you go out with them and you meet whoever they're messing with, so then their friend brings a friend. So all of that happened, but I just never was swayed by it because 10 times out of 10, they couldn't even make it in a conversation with me. Like that grammar snob you talk about has been here for quite some time. So if I can't even have a conversation with you, we're not getting much further than that.
So you've never ever succumbed to the game of Tata or Man Man,
No,
where he was able to game his way into your mind.
I was too smart for that. They tried, but like I said, they it was just I was too smart for it. Like I see where you're going with this. So I would have to be
Right.
stupid to go along with it. And I've never been stupid. So,
Hmm. So you were more well read than
yes.
visually. So you read a lot of books and things like
Yes.
that. Okay.
Yes.
I think that does make a difference. It does make a difference. Like what I remember I was saying, what Bill Gates says, because that's why it's important to read, because it stimulates your mind and it's on a different level. It's different from watching visual stuff. If you're actually reading and reading the books, you're like you can tell a difference between a woman that's well read and a woman that's visual. That's visual. That's just
Mhm.
social media. Like it makes a difference. It really does make a difference. Now, it may not make you again. You said the most popular thing, but you
Mhm.
you do have a certain you have a certain I'm going to say a certain level of resistance, which I think it's if I had a daughter, I would want her to have that same level of resistance too. You feel me?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was great that my mom did a good job on expressing how important for me it was for me to not write checks that my ass can't cash.
Right,
Um,
right.
and developmentally, I had a body that was older than me. So
Oh,
I started getting attention very young, but I was still so naive and immature that I didn't want any of that attention.
right.
So, when you talk about reading books, it builds your character in that it makes you value your time. The
Hmm.
time that it takes to read a book, the accomplishment that you feel once you've completed it, all of that can't be replaced by living fast.
Right.
And so, I did a lot more development. I did a lot more brainy things. I felt more proud to be able to say I know something versus I did something.
Hmm. Okay. How many meaningful relationships have you had in your life?
I would say one.
One.
Yeah.
Did it end bad?
No, it really didn't. We were together for quite some time. We were engaged. Uh, I broke off the engagement just like a good black girl does.
So you only had one. Oh, okay, you only had
Yeah,
one engagement. Oh, I thought you
yeah.
about to like, hey, I've been engaged 4 times.
No, 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 no.
No.
But I mean, I had a high school sweetheart that we were together all through college, and he was my first. I wouldn't say that was my significant relationship because even though that was important to my development, it was the one that came after that that was probably the most meaningful. We were together for like 10 years,
Hmm.
and I learned so much about myself in that relationship that now I feel equipped to be somebody's wife.
Okay. That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. You know what I'm saying? That's good. And so you did figure out that is the path that you want to take, right? You're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I got
How
there.
long? How long? I mean, you got there, but I mean, what was really holding you back? Was it you think influences in your life that was holding you back, or just you
Sure.
did say that gynocracy was telling you you needed so basically and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Did you kind of hold back from the I guess the meaningful relationship because you were kind of listening to the
Yeah.
gynocracy?
Yeah. Because there was so much emphasis placed on me being a career woman that I thought that I needed to do that. I needed
Hmm.
to do everything I could to be the best career woman that I could be because, you can't depend on a man and a man ain't going to do this for you and all of that. Which in theory is not a horrible thing, but it doesn't
Hmm.
it removes the importance of that traditional role. And
Right.
um growing up and not seeing successful marriages was also a reason why I never thought that I would get married
Hmm.
because I just didn't see it being done in practice.
Right.
So, it took a lot of undoing of that learning and then just getting real with myself about my desires for me to get to the point where, like I said, I got to the point where, okay, now I do want to be a wife and I do want to be a helpmate and I'm not
Hmm.
prioritizing what bottom line I could earn at somebody else's corporation over being a helpmate.
Right. Do you know what? Because I always look at solutions, and you can tell me. I mean, you can probably tell me on your side. If because the thing about it is, we have a get the bag culture level up.
Mm.
I mean, shout out to Prince Pierre, man. Shout out to Prince Pierre.
Oh, yeah, I love him.
Yeah, yeah, man. Shout out to Prince Pierre, man. Um, we live in a get the bag culture. Get your money and all this type of stuff. Do you do you think it would make a difference if a lot of maybe like maybe the sisterhood would promote and tell these young ladies the benefits, even the financial benefits of having marriages in relationships like that? Do you think it would make a difference because there's a significant difference in financially? I think if people know, they would make more of an effort
Hmm.
to to be married and to be in his unions. Like I'll give you an example. When you're married, right, you pay less for insurance all across the board. People don't know that you get a bigger tax benefit. Do you think if the sisterhood would tell women those type of benefits that it would make a difference in how they view marriage and relationships and things like that?
Only minimally, because if you're not getting that download directly from your parent or your most influential people, then
Hmm.
it's not gonna come through. You have to see it in practice. This is why I
Hmm.
believe that you have to be raised to be a wife. Now, that's a controversial
Right.
conversation to have with a lot of single parents, a lot of single mothers, because they lack that foundation. But I
Right.
think that, we would be in much better straits as people if we did have those examples and you could use yourself as an example while you are raising that daughter. Unfortunately,
Right.
when that influence comes from the outside and you go home to a mother who is betting different men each night of the week, then it's incongruent, right?
Right. No,
So
it's
now
definitely incongruent.
you have to fight against what it is that you're seeing at home every day or in your family versus stuff you're seeing outside of that.
Man, shout out to Juan G's. Shout out to Sir Ism. Look at Triple Man. And you know what? Shout out to Sir Ism. Anyways, no, it's you brought up a great word. The great word congruence. And that's a very important term. And I don't think a lot of people really understand that term. It's because when you are in, like, say, in a functional relationship, we'll just say functional relationship.
Mhm.
We're not even call it marriage. We don't even like, for instance,
Sure.
let's just say you're in a functional relationship. There's certain I use a key term of functional because when you're in a functional relationship, it's kind of almost like uh, a partnership, or there's some type of end result, and both people have to show a certain level of congruence, right? Hey, you know what? We're in
Mhm.
a relationship. If we're congruent, we want to, we have goals. We want to get a house. We want to get, a savings account. We want to save for college. We want to save. So all those things are congruent, and when you kind of look for those goals, like, you know what, if we were married, you know what, we could get more money on taxes, we can save money on this, and we can, we can get to our goals, so we have that level of congruence, right?
Mhm.
I mean, I don't even think people can even break that threshold to even have that conversation, because it's so, like, people, we're just so, nah, I need my own money. Oh no, I mean, hey, you know what? Even though we having sex with each other, I don't care what he do. I got my own thing, or I don't care what she does. I think it's even hard to even get people to think on, like, a goal. Like,
Mhm.
we're, we're gonna get in a relationship and we're gonna have goals because everybody's so thinking about themselves. Am I wrong for that?
No, not at all. It's this mentality that you have to one up someone. You have to get the best. You have to do more. You have to have more.
Hmm.
And it's not it no man is an island.
Right,
No man, and like none of us got where we are simply by ourselves. We
right,
just didn't. And the more we get honest about that, the more progress we can make.
right.
But we're so broken already that it's hard to go back and fill in those fractures and then build on them.
No, you're absolutely right about that. It's just the because I remember when I got married, and I worked in banking, and I was like, damn, all the dude that had resources, they were all married. They were all married. I was like, there's something to this, and I just started looking at statistics, and I started reading a couple books. One of the books I read was The Millionaire Next Door.
Mhm.
The Millionaire Next Door, kind of broke it down to me, and a lot of these myths that you had, about, what wealth building is all about, is like, coming from the black community and things like that, you would think that you would have to be a rapper, or, some type of big superstar, some type of baller to become a millionaire. And when I read that book, it opened my eyes to what wealth building is about. I mean, so many misconceptions. Like, you would think, like, for instance, we have this six-figure thing, right now, this six-figure thing. You would think everybody would need to make at least six figures to become rich, right?
Mhm.
You would think that, right?
You would.
Yeah, but it's far from the truth, though. They said most millionaires, the median income for the households at that time was like 60,000 or something like that.
Mhm.
60,000 households, whatever. But they had certain habits, attributes, that, it was to become a millionaire, because you can make $100,000, but if you have $100,000 of debt coming out, or
Right.
expenses coming out, it doesn't matter. You can
Mhm.
make 200,000. It doesn't matter. It's you gotta. There's a certain lifestyle that millionaires live, that are unique to them, that a lot of people don't understand. You know, they don't
Mhm.
really understand that lifestyle, right? Um, I mean, we're programmed to think bottle. I mean, if you can't pop bottles or drive a Lambo, you ain't rich.
Yeah. Yeah, because if I don't see it, then it can't exist.
Right. 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 It, but I mean, the way I'm going with this is like that's another foundational thing that I don't want to say we've been well, we were bamboozled. Like the way of building wealth and abundance and stuff like that from us has been we've been completely lied to.
Hmm.
Completely lied to. You can't live extravagant and expect to get to your goals at the end. That's why you see people go broke.
Yeah.
Like you see person after person go broke. They were, man, homie, you used to be the man, homie, and now you living under a bridge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing about it too is like in the programming is so bad that you got young ladies now, right? That like the guy that's on a trajectory to actually be successful, they won't even look at him.
Yeah.
They won't even look at him. That's crazy, isn't it?
It is.
Like I would like he broke. He's a fireman. He broke.
But that money's
Meanwhile,
steadily coming
you
in.
don't got $100.
Yeah. Yeah.
He broke. He broke. That's crazy, man.
I
I
can't tell you
mean,
how many people I know have gotten married and divorced within a year, all because they didn't really know who they were marrying. It's
we
sad.
live no, we live in an internet state. I mean, we just living in an era that you don't really need. I mean, you can't. First of all, when do you really have a time to vet a person?
Yeah. I
If
mean, but
you're in a
that's the thing
career,
what we
if
were
you're in a
talking about
career,
earlier.
if you're in a career, you're working 8 hours a day. You know, you can't really. I mean, even if you live with that person, you can only go by what they're posting on social media. I mean, when do you really have time to vet a person?
If you did the things that we were talking about earlier, you would have that time. Actually courting people, actually talking to them on the phone, actually spending time. That's when you start to
Hmm.
put it together. But if
Right.
everything you're seeing is literally um, a social media post, an Instagram story, then no, you're not going to gather all the data that you need to be able to make an informed decision about this person.
Right. So basically, I mean, we can only judge a person like when, I guess at the height of ecstasy, when we're having sex with them, or when we're on vacation with them, or when we're like having, at the club, at dinner. That's when we judge a person. We don't really can't really judge a person when they're down and out or you're down and out.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
That's crazy, man. Man, shout out to True Savage, man. Shout out to Sir Ism again, man. Hey, man, I had six in the box. You already know. So, hey, you know what? Hey, we see that what you're doing your thing on the manosphere. Are you dating now?
I am. I
Uh
actually am.
oh. Uh oh. So let me guess. Are you doing the modern woman shuffle?
No,
You got the food man, got the
no,
let me cry on your shoulder man,
no,
and then got the was it the Ty the Pookie and the Ray Ray?
no, nope, nope.
No,
I just recently started seeing one person,
right?
and that's it.
That's
And
it.
yeah, yeah, we're not even in the same state. But
Oh man, the sisterhood does not tell you to expand your options, girl.
I mean, yeah, but who has the time?
I was totally joking. So they have tried to intervene on you
Well,
already.
I mean, not necessarily saying, you need to diversify your portfolio, so to speak, but just in terms of,
Damn sisterhood. They always they always need to get in there. Just let you, you know what I'm saying, get to know the person. You know what I'm saying? You gonna have a maybe a fruitful relationship or whatever, man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure that, the person that you're talking to, you're actually deep diving into
right,
them as a
right.
person, right?
Yes. And that's what I
Okay.
was about to say. To me, it's quality over quantity. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the minute you start invoking other people's judgments or opinions about how you should do something is the moment it stops being yours.
Right.
So for me, it's about how intentional I am with my time and whomever I expend it with. I can't expect everybody to move the same way that I do, but this is what works for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a great person, so whoever I allow to spend time with me has to be aware of that and honor that. The moment that I feel like that's not happening, then we're no longer aligned. But
Yeah. Now, is this the first time that you've dated somebody with a purpose?
um, no, I wouldn't say it's the first time. Just it's just the first time that it seems like it's reciprocated.
Hmm. Even in your long-term relationship, you don't feel like there was a purpose to that one?
Oh yeah, no, there was. There totally was. But I mean, I'm talking more so after we broke up.
Oh, okay. Wow, I mean, you said 10 years?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And we broke up on good terms. Like he and I still keep somewhat in contact. Um, there's no hard feelings. We both walked away from it fully wanting the best for each other. And I can say that I honestly believe that he wanted that for me and I honestly wanted that for him. So
Hmm.
I think that's the thing. That's the beauty about getting older and realizing what the fruit and nuts are in a relationship. It's really between the two people who are in it. The moment you start adding people to the equation,
Ah,
you
oh
can
my
forget
God.
it.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm glad that you said that. I'm so glad that you said that.
Isn't it true?
Um, oh my God. It's just the projection of some people. It's like, especially if that person has any influence on you. Oh my God, it can completely change the way that you view that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's now. I mean, that's why I don't really, talk like about. I mean, I do, you know, I vaguely talk about the person I'm seeing or whatever, because I don't really, try to tell anybody that many details,
Hmm.
because the thing about it is like one detail, um it automatically, if it's projection. I mean, if it's something that, if that's their red flag, they're going to sell it to you. It should be your red flag too. Like, oh yeah, she's a single mother. I dated a single mother, and the single mother ruined my life. And I could do this, I could do, you need to run, run. It's just like the sister would be like, oh girl, hey girl, he's in a different state, you know that nigga, he's all around doing this and that. Girl, you need to run. Girl, you need to run, right? And you
Exactly.
know it. You know people were gonna say that, right?
Hmm. Yep.
Huh?
Yep. And that's why you have to be discerning with who you share that information with and
Right.
how
You'd be
much you
like,
let
girl,
people in.
I dated some dude and he had 10 babies. And of course, we were long distance. So all his baby mamas called me and they wanted to fight me, in the other state. I went up and to visit him, and, his baby mama ran up on him.
Yeah, no, I'm not
That
playing
shit
those
crazy,
games.
man.
Play
No,
stupid
man.
games,
That's
win
crazy.
stupid prizes. Mm-mm.
Uh-huh. Hmm. Yeah, man. What else is going on in the manosphere, man? I mean, isn't there like did you ever, were you reformed divester?
No,
I can't remember.
no.
Were you? Did you did you look into to get into the swirling?
Absolutely not. There is
Okay.
nothing that those people can do for me. No.
You didn't like like did you scout out or study the pink pill?
No, but you know what's interesting? Once I started watching Manosphere content, the pink stuff started spilling into my feed. And so then I was just curious, like, okay, what is hypergamy? What is all of this? And again, that's just an opposite side of the coin where instead of doing the work to be the best person that you can be, you're just looking
Right.
for somebody to finance your life. And it's like, no, that doesn't sit well with me either because um although I think I'm attractive enough to find a guy that will just want me to be his uh accessory, I have way more than that.
I mean, it's refreshing to talk to you because, um, um, because you just said something I think that's very important. Um, these level up chicks talk about empowerment, and I'm so glad that you were able to decipher like what they're talking, what the way that they're talking, the tactics that they're using. They're basically calling themselves an accessory. What is that in? How's that empowering?
I don't know. It's delusional empowerment.
Like you want to use these tricks and schemes to level up or to finesse or whatever, and that's empowering.
It makes absolutely no sense to me, but people have built empires on it and they are making money off of it. So more power to them. Good for them. Just not for me. I have
I,
way too much to offer than to be somebody's arm piece.
no, I mean the fact that somebody can buy you
Right. Right.
is empowering, and they're able to sell this stuff.
Yeah, because people covet it. Other women look at them and are jealous. And unfortunately, that just doesn't have that effect on me. It just doesn't work that way for me. I look at you and I wonder what else you got to put up with in order to put this facade up. Because really, all it is just a facade. Love
Yeah,
doesn't need props.
so much of it is so backwards. Like,
Hmm.
you're a boss bitch, but yet you're trying to extract somebody else's resources.
Yep.
Please make it make sense. It's got to make some type of sense because it when I'm just thinking on it from a surface level, it just makes no damn sense. I just can't do it. I mean, how are you a boss when you're scheming on somebody else? Like basically, like you when the finesse is figured out, they can turn off the faucet and guess what? You're
Hmm.
fired.
Hmm. And replaced easily.
What's empowering about that?
Like, sis, for all of that, you could have just got a job.
Man, shout out to True Savage, man. True Savage said that you like your coffee. Was it you? Toya likes her coffee black.
That's a
Is that
fact.
so? You like your dark boys?
I love them dark. Dark. Not just
Oh,
black, but
okay.
dark.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. James Brown in the building. James Brown, one of my favorite songs is "I Bought Her." Uh-oh, okay. You're in a dark game. Okay, that's what I'm talking about right there.
Yeah.
You like your coffee black.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh-oh. Who is your celebrity crush? I can already tell. Since you said the dark boy
You
thing,
won't you won't guess. You won't guess because it's never who people think it is. You
oh,
won't you
I
won't guess.
mean,
It's never the typical run of the mill. No, I gag at Idris Elba. No, thank you.
uh-huh.
I'll pass on that. But I his co-star, Michael K. Williams, even though I know he's not into me, I think he's attractive.
Michael K. Williams. I don't know who
hmm
that guy is.
Omar from The Wire.
That guy, really?
So that's why I said no one ever guesses, but if I had to pick one, that would be it. I'm not really into celebrity guys, but
Hmm.
it's more so about his character and who he presents himself to be outside of his acting roles. But also,
Uh,
I think he's very attractive.
oh my God. So you more it's more the attitude. So you like the more
I'm very cerebral.
mm, very so you like so he's more very masculine, right?
hmm Yeah, I like that.
When you say very cerebral,
hmm
uh, expand on that a little bit.
You can make more headway with me by talking to my mind. Like if you, that's why I said if I can't have a conversation with you, then you're pretty much screwed because that's what I get off on. That's what I enjoy. So
Hmm.
that's what I mean by cerebral. If you can touch my brain, you can touch everything else.
Ooh, you guys heard that, guys? So those low level conversations, man, don't be up in the inbox and be like, "Hey, what's up, shouty?"
Right, right. Not even reading those.
Hey, that's what one feature that YouTube has they haven't used, so you can't really even get any inboxes on
No,
here.
no. And I like that.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure in regular social media, which you probably a different thing, you probably you get some, especially with your. I seen that you had posted a couple pictures up when I first saw you. They were a little thirst trappy. Um, there was a
Why,
little good
thank
thirst
you.
trappy. You were you know you were definitely celebrating your weight loss and things like that.
hmm hmm
Uh did you was there a noticeable difference in the thirst in your inbox?
I wouldn't say that it was a difference in terms of quantity, but definitely in terms of quality.
Good or bad?
Bad. Bad, for sure.
uh, um um let me drink your bathwater bad, or just
Yeah,
like
like just
girl girl, I want you to marry me, I'm gonna give you some money and all this type of bad.
the first one, more so the
Oh
first one.
uh,
Just
so
stuff
it's
where it's like,
all right thirst.
yeah,
Wow. Yeah. I think it's hilarious. I mean, the thing about it is, how do you contain yourself and not go and not go through that whole stage of dropping it down low on everything that thirst at you?
I will say that that's where my weight gave me an advantage because during the time that I was heavy, even though I was still cute and people will even say when I post pictures of myself when I was heavier that I could have still got it back then. Whatever.
Hmm.
It saved me in that it helped me to develop a personality and a standard for myself so that when that
Hmm.
low-hanging fruit started trying to pull me down, it just wasn't it didn't move me because to me it was a clear indication that you don't see my worth aside from my physical appearance. So that's why I say you have to really get at my mind first because this is just a body. The body can change.
Yeah, the body can change, but it's to different levels of thirst doesn't change. So and I swear I was. I just think it's so funny. Like when you lost the weight, and I'm sure on social media there was you probably have a a group of friends or a circle or people. Was there certain people that thirsted after you that you were very surprised about? You're like, God dang, this guy's in my inbox now.
Yeah, yeah, that happened. Like some like let's say D-list kind of celebrities got into my inbox. I was getting kind of thirst traps from them and like, oh, I'm gonna be in your area for a show. I'll send you tickets, that kind of stuff. But
Wow. But you're not
yeah,
even in
but
that
like
industry. How did they find you?
no. No, I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. Like it would be something like maybe they saw a tweet and then I would get a reply to that and then it would be an inbox. Um, but because I don't think if you, for example, my Instagram, I have like maybe 10 pictures up. I do much
Hmm.
more story posting than I do of just regular page posting. So
Hmm.
you can't even say that it was necessarily that. But I have friends who are in the industry. So it might also be that just being exposed by way of being friends with people.
Hmm. But with that type of attention, girl, you got it, girl. You a bad member. Like, you can finesse this man out of money, and you got it. You got that, that bomb cherry, everything. How come you, girl, girl? These men's want you. You do like I'm still not seeing why don't you want to take advantage of all this.
Because it's not about that. I feel like it's to exchange energy with somebody is noble. Like you have to be intentional about how you do that. And so, and I really realized how important it is to be discerning about those things. But
But
also, like what you were saying before about lacking the ability to bond, I never wanted to lose that, even before I knew what that was. Seriously.
I'm just saying, it's like, hey, men do it too. Why can't you do it? They out here doing everything.
There's there's a reason why they're the output and we're the input. There's a reason why, you know? Two different functions.
uh, yeah, it's quite entertaining sometimes to hear it. That's the I think that's why, I mean, like Kevin Samuels is so entertaining. It's
Mhm.
because um this stuff gets sold and it gets picked apart very easily. But yet it's so insane because um there's always like he's been having shows since for a year, right? And
Mhm.
we will show hundreds of examples of him picking apart of one of these nonsensical women. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying all women are bad. Don't paint me
Of
on that.
course
I
not.
mean, I don't want to paint that narrative or whatever, right? But like every show, there will be two or three of them that will present the same information and try to move the goalpost like something is going to be different. He's going to say something
Mhm.
different. To me, I can't understand for the life of me why do they do that to themselves.
It's delusions of stupor.
Yeah, this lady last night was saying because I guess she just the need to be right. What he
Mhm.
talked about,
Mhm.
and it to me it never gets old because it's just so funny because you're like, nah, she's not gonna go there, right?
And she
So
goes right there.
she goes right there, right? So he gets her on the ropes, right? And then he was like, why? He's like, because he's like talking about beauty standards and then they were like, well, why can I wear my blonde wig and stuff like that? And then he starts talking about the BMI, and then he was like, and then he traps him because he was like, well, you're talking about European beauty standards that we shouldn't, talk about European beauty standards. And he was like, well, if that's the case, why are you wearing blonde wigs? If you don't care
Mhm.
about European beauty standards or whatever, right? And then he,
Yep.
so both of them, there was like two of them. He trapped both of them, and I can't understand why they couldn't. They should have just got out of there and just took the L, right? And then the one girl, he's like, why you? He's like, okay, ask me this. He's like, why do we have beauty pageants? And then I don't know, somehow the conversation, they were trying to deflect and the conversation got off the rails. And next thing you know, she is trying to sell why like Precious would have just as good of a chance of winning Miss America than anybody else because beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, like, it would be nice to be able to say that, but it's terribly wrong.
No, she stuck to her guns.
I'm
She
sure
wasn't
she
having
did. But that's what I
it.
mean by delusions of stupor. A lot of us are walking around in this delusion of stupor and we can't get out of it because we're so beholden to it. And there's this cacophony, there's what I call the amen corner that all Black women find themselves in and never get out of because they think that that is their saving grace. It is their soft place to land until they realize, wait a minute, this isn't where I'm supposed to be because I'm actually not a lesbian. Like,
Uh-oh.
you
Hey
know,
man,
it
I
just
mean
doesn't
we
make
gotta we
sense.
gotta slow you down a little bit, man. I mean, the sisterhood is listening, and
I'm
I
sorry.
don't know, man. They might block you from one of their chat rooms now.
I
You
know.
saying too much.
I
You
know. I won't
saying
be
too
let
much.
in on the next meeting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the I really can't understand is like if you know you're living in misery, right? You're living in loneliness and stuff like that. Why are they constantly trying to promote how great things are?
Because if you because it seemingly works for a short amount of time. That's why. On the outside looking in, it's like, "Oh yeah, we've created this beautiful village where it's just women and we all take care of each other until one of us gets our period." You know?
Yeah, you see those like you see and it's so easy to recognize. I mean, this is false. Like you'll go on Facebook and then you'll see I had like one of these travel things and then you'll see like, 15 women on a trip to Jamaica and you
Mhm.
won't see one dude around. And you're
Mhm.
like, "Oh my God, I don't know five women that get along." So, and they're looking like they're having the time of their life knowing that they probably just like after day one, they hung over and they're like, man, I want to get the hell up out of here. Or,
Mhm. Yep.
but when you see the pictures, you think like they are having the time of their life.
And you can't convince them of anything otherwise. But what happens is when they get off of those trips and when they are alone in those quiet moments with themselves, there's nobody there to make that moment go away. They have to get honest. Those quiet moments that each woman has. This is what I talk about whenever I'm on my channel talking about accountability and stuff.
Hmm.
Because I know as a woman that I go home and I have those quiet moments with myself. But the reason why I can do that in peace and and like he said, yeah, misery loves company. But the reason I can go home and have those quiet moments in peace is because each decision I've made was in alignment with who I am versus me trying to live up to somebody I'm not, me trying to get somebody to buy into this version of me that I'm not. All
Hmm.
of that stuff comes up when you're at home alone. I'm sure it happens for men too, but I can only speak about being a woman.
Right. I mean, when did you take off that armor though?
I'm so glad you used that word because that's exactly the word I use when I talk about my weight loss. It was when I lost weight.
That's when you took that armor off.
Yeah. It it
Okay.
it, it came off whether I was ready for it to or not.
So, I mean, when you were a little bit heavier,
Mhm.
did you have that attitude like, they got to take me as I am and blah blah blah?
Yes, I very much so had that attitude. I did. I did.
No, I'm laughing because I think it's so funny because you know these I mean it's there's nothing wrong with standards, are they outliers? Yes, there are outliers, but most people have like usually like minimum standards. I mean, how do they get in this goddamn conundrum, like this thing where you got to accept me what I am, even with my worst, and I don't have to do any improvement. If you want me, you got to accept me what I am with all my stuff. But you, no, you got to have this, you got to have that, you got to have this for you to even talk to me.
Because
Hello,
in that amen corner I was talking about a second ago, that's what's
the
being
amen
touted.
corner. I gotta use that. Oh,
Women
okay.
all have this. They go home to their amen corners. It's family and friends that are telling them, no
Uh-huh.
matter what, you are still worthy, body positivity, healing. All of these things are being said in this amen corner. And the only
Right.
word that's not being said is accountability.
Mm-hmm.
So why would
Yeah.
you take accountability for the part you play in your position if you have a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
people in a corner saying, cheering you on and saying, "Girl, we got you. Girl, you got this. What you need?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what's happening.
You know what? I'm never ever going to be the guy that's gonna promote like degeneracy to any dude. I'm never going to be the guy to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I'm never going to be that guy. I can't be that guy. You feel me? And
Yeah.
like, I even go out of my way sometimes to check dudes that promote degeneracy, that promote like degenerate behavior.
Hmm.
Because the thing about it is, it's not good with my spirit. And me and my buddy talked about that the other day. Like for instance, I've never had. I mean, I've had conversations with men. My friends that they're going through a rough relationship patch, or a part of their marriage that's really bad or whatever. It's never ever came, or I've never heard it come out my mouth, man, you need to leave her, leave your wife, leave your kids, and all this stuff. I never ever would ever fix my. I mean, because it wouldn't even be right in my spirit. No matter what he told me was going on, but that would never be something. But it seems like there's some people out there that are willing to give that type of counsel just like automatically, and they don't ever think about the consequences of that bad counsel. That's crazy to me. It's
It
just
is
crazy to
crazy,
me that
but it's exactly
some people will, huh?
it is crazy, and that's exactly why we're in the space that we're in right now. Because people are out here giving
Right.
bad advice and they keep doing it. And it just keeps siphoning in this same circle, in these amen corners, in these cacophonies, echo chambers, whatever you want to call them.
Hmm.
They just keep getting passed along and around. And it's like, uh, I can't. But I'm going to get out of here because it's
Hmm.
lunchtime and your girl is
Oh yeah.
hungry.
Oh yeah. Oh, I hear your stomach growling.
Oh no, I got to turn the volume down.
Anyways, man, thank you for the great conversation, man.
Yeah,
Great
thanks for having
conversation. I
me. This
appreciate
was
that,
cool.
man. I'll be listening to you and Mace. You guys be having some good conversations and stuff like that, man. Hey,
Yeah, Mace is great.
Toya's a real one, man. We need to protect Toya from the sisterhood. We gotta
I
protect her from
appreciate
the
that.
sisterhood.
Thank you so
All
much,
right.
Triple Black.
No problem, man. You have a great one.
You too. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, you too. It's Friday. Oh man. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Oh, it's Friday. Oh boy. All righty. Hey man, shout out to everybody, man. Me and Toya just had a great conversation. Great conversation. No big deal. yelling, no screaming. Triple Black uh, stayed stayed sane. I didn't get insane. I didn't start going off or anything like that, man. But shout out to the True Savage, man. Shout out to True Savage, man. I had 8 in the box. I still don't even know how to do. I mean, I'm not big enough to have moderators or anything like that. But I don't even know how the hell those people do the what do you call it? The wrenches and things like that. I have no idea how to do that. But if I get on here, I'd like to give these guys some wrenches. But I have no idea how to do it. You know what I'm saying? Um, I don't even know how to do it. Tell me how to do it. Do it. Anyway, do it. Mhm. um, man, I appreciate everybody, man. Make sure you guys like the stream, man. Make sure you guys like the stream. Um, final lesson, man, is like whatever glitter ain't gold, man. You gotta look beyond the surface level of anything, man. There's always an unintended byproduct of anything. If you eat too much, you over a period of time you get overweight, you get fat, and you develop disease. If you overindulge sexually, you can become promiscuous. There's grave consequences for men and women. You know what I'm saying? You're not able to bond. You probably have trust issues. Those type of things. You know what I'm saying? It's it's chalky white MK. I don't even know what that means, but I put it up Prince P. Maybe it's an inside joke or something. So, but it's anything, man. I mean, it's good to live in abundance, but don't overindulge. Because one, I mean, I'm not a religious person. One thing that TD Jakes, I remember I was going through a period of time, and TD Jakes was saying, man, what? Sometimes, man, in darkness, there's great opportunity. Sometimes in pain, those type of things. There's some great opportunities in those things. Like they said that you can't have sunshine all the time. You need hurricanes, you need storms, you need these natural disasters because it cleans out the ecosystem. That's sometimes you need storms in your life. You know what I'm saying? You got to stand tall on your ship, and I mean, as long as you stand tall, it doesn't matter how much water goes in your ship. Just stand tall on it. It ain't gonna sink. It ain't gonna sink. You just got to stand tall on your ship. And that's the thing about it is sometimes you got to embrace those pitfalls. Failures. They said failure is feedback. It Thomas Edison, all the great ones, man. They've had tons of failures in their life, man. If you look at Mark Cuban, you know how many failed. I mean, he's a billionaire. You know how many failures he's had. Microsoft guy, you know how many failures he's had. Jeff Bezos, you know how many failures he's had. I mean, like, there's nobody. I mean, somebody's gonna have you're gonna have a run, but there's gonna be a bunch of failures in your life. There's gonna be a lot of opportunity for improvement. Life is not just one area; it's a bunch of different areas. So you gotta and you gotta understand that with anything good, there's gonna be some bad that comes with it. Everything ain't roses, man. Everything ain't roses. You're gonna have to live. You're gonna have to live, man. But anyways, man, I've been on here for 2.5 hours, man. Shit, I need to get me some lunch too. My stomach is growling too. Anyways, man, I let your boy, man. Shout out to everybody out there, man. For real, man. I'm out here, man. Anyway, shout out to True Savage, the Fireman, Toya, Prince P, for coming through. You know what I'm saying? Juan G's for coming through. You already know what it is, man. Everybody, man. Shout out to everybody, man. Just hit the like button, man. Holla at your boy, man. I'm out. I'm out.